How is everyone doing today? It is April 27th of 2024, and I thought I would take a chance. We've had a couple days of cold snap that passed through, so all of our plants are kind of in turtle mode inside the house, and thought I would take this opportunity to do a quick little video and show you what's going on indoors. So we are currently super overwhelmed. We did get the plants outside for about 3 days, 3 nights recently, but we had to bring them in because, like this, I was saying, we had a really cold rain and cold weather that's moving through right now. So we're currently locked up, but let me show you everything. The best way I can do a video is to just start talking about stuff going on and just babble incoherently. I never really have a plan when I do my videos. They're mostly just one takes of me explaining what's going on, but it's April 27th of 2024, and we are currently in the upstairs bathroom. So this is a tomato that I'm trying to give away. It's a Black Prince, but it's one of our major tomatoes. We're growing dwarf tomato plants, and we're also growing our main tomatoes, which are usually heirlooms, indeterminates, and bigger style varieties. But that's a Black Prince tomato I've been trying to give away, and it's just kind of up here. This upstairs bathroom is usually our overflow. A lot of house plants will end up here. With the mirror, it kind of gives good reflection on light. It's got several lights here. We can hook up heat lamp lights here too if we want. But it's just an overall pretty good humid room to use as a grow room. Problem is it takes up a lot of counter space and can make it really rough to deal with sometimes. But this is our backup main tomatoes. Most of our main tomatoes, the main 9 varieties we're going to try to hit the yard this year, are already potted up down here. This is all leftovers and varieties that won't be able to make it probably, or if just in case of a negative scenario. But you can see the trays gone a little crazy. So I know that as soon as we get the warm weather again, I can move these outside a little bit, in and out and stuff, to try to harden them off, and that's what's got them looking pretty good. They were looking haggard recently, but right now they're up here. These are ornamentals. So there's about, I think, 5 of the Midwest Midnight Orange pepper, specifically a more of an ornamental small variety. I've seen these plants come in larger varieties and smaller, but this is the genetics from one of the smaller versions. So we're going to plant probably 4 pots of these ornamental peppers in these square bins that we have outside this year. And the other one that's with the Midwest Midnight Orange is the jigsaw pepper. So these are all Midwest Midnight Orange and jigsaw peppers, all pulling from little tiny sprouts that we're growing in one of our bathrooms. But this is the upstairs bathroom. We're not in the trench yet, but it's kind of a place where in emergency we can kind of move some plants in here. The humidity is good in here for more of a, like we've had the lemon tree up here before and a couple other plants and stuff. It's not the greatest room to grow in, but it's more of just an emergency room to kind of move plants off to when we need to. But this is our large bathroom. All right, heading downstairs. And we are moving into the little bathroom now. So let me climb in here. It's really crowded. This is one of those tiny, small cubicle bathrooms you see in a lot of apartments in the typical apartment setup. This is main style tomatoes too. These were just kind of like a secondary backup. They ended up stunted in these cups for a long time, but now that they're getting good light and they're in a good situation, and pretty soon we'll be able to move things outside. These were actually for several weeks were really small and looked like they might not make it, or were just kind of stunted and not really going anywhere. But the couple days we did have outside sprung them up forward. There's a spider plant. That spider plant was outside, a big plant, and we took one of the little spiders off and grew it. It grew another little spider out of it, a little shoot out of it, and we clipped that off and put it in there. So there's 2 spider plant shoots in there that have been growing off of nothing but water. And this is our dwarf tomato tray. Let me see if I can page up here to get a better look at it. It's in a tray inside of a bin. And then I'm able to slide these tinfoil over top of cardboard panels cut to this size to kind of keep it boxed in. So when we come into the restroom here, they're not laying out. It kind of keeps everything held together. But that's our dwarf tomatoes, and that is our backups. We have 7 dwarf types currently out, getting bigger in cups, but those backups look plenty fine. So if any of the cups don't make it because they were transplanted a little bit later than we normally would like to, then these ones will be right fine right here. That is a Hoya we've had for quite a while. It's been just growing in a cup. I think its roots are so dominant inside that cup, it's almost no soil in there, just roots. But we've dozens and dozens. We've just clipped off leaf nodes, plugged them into a cup of soil, and they grow. The Hoya, the spider plant that I just showed you, and then this one right here, the Dieffenbachia, are 3 house plants that we almost can't get rid of. They're so easy to grow. They're fine if you overwater them a little bit. They're fine if you underwater them for a while. They give off extra plants all the time. This is a whole bunch of extra Dieffenbachia shoots from one little tiny shoot. This is just one little tiny piece. We trimmed it down and made tons and tons of plants off those 3. So if there's 3 you're looking for to grow as indoor house plants, the Hoya is a really easy one to grow. The Dieffenbachia, the spider plant, and I would also say there's probably like an honorable mention for ones like the pothos, and then also snake plants are really easy one to grow, especially if you underwater them and they still survive and actually produce more constantly. You almost have a problem with them overgrowing too much under bad conditions. That is the remnants of a Midwest Midnight Orange, and that's where the little sprouts of the ornamentals that were upstairs in the big bathroom came from. Is this one right here. I just got it on the floor right here because it can't really survive outside. If this one does well, it'll probably just save some more seeds off of it is probably what I'll do, and then maybe give it away because we have the other ones that we're going to be putting out in pots outside this year. This is our mutant pepper. It is still doing good, still producing peppers. There's actually 2 plants in there of this kind. A really unique pepper plant. Some people might not have seen this before, but check that out. That's a pepper plant. The peppers are edible, maybe not the greatest, but they are edible. Really unique kind of pepper plant. And these are lemon trees that have grown in this pot. We're hoping to up-pot these trees this year, but it's a lemon tree. We grow it not necessarily to produce lemons, but we've had it in that pot for several years now and just really like having it in the house. Sometimes when we clip the leaves off and stuff like that, it gives off a citrus scent that smells really good. And right here, this is our Tamarillo. We usually have an avocado tree in this spot, but because the Tamarillo is doing so well, and not only is it doing well, I think it's just had some good spots this year. It was upstairs in our humid bathroom, and down here it's more like a desert. It's got plenty of heat down here though, so it's just been in a little tiny pot. Both these trees like to put like a tap root down, like a shoot, like a straight root straight down and stuff like that. And then also like they usually spread, their roots have to spread. And you can see how this one's condensed in the bucket. What's happening with the leaves is it's following the way that the roots are growing inside of the little tiny bucket. So getting this out and getting it into a bigger pot this year to grow bigger will be a big help for it. This lemon tree just needed it for the longest time, but those are all the plants that are here in our little bathroom. We run the heat lamps about 10 hours a day, about 5 hours, and then about 5 hours with this lesser light right here on, and then about 5 hours with the heat lamp on again when it's like starts getting cooler at night. But really excited. These all need trimmed really bad. All right, and through the kitchen there's a seed starting mix, some of that soil that we have from outside. Yeah, my camera went wonky. Epsom salt. A lot of people might not know Epsom salt is organic. It's actually kind of a natural salt, and it was named after Epsom, which is a lake somewhere in Europe. So Epsom salt is actually magnesium sulfate. It's really good for the plants. NPK stands for nitrogen. phosphorus and potassium. When it comes to the phosphorus in there, the magnesium sulfate doesn't necessarily give it the phosphorus it needs, but it gives it the ability to, a phosphoric kind of acidic ability to break down or easily absorb more minerals for the soil. So it can be used in a fertilizer in sense in that it can help it reach minerals and draw in nutrients that the plants need a lot easier. We're big fans of using Epsom salt. It is organic and a really, really good choice. If anybody else is interested in that, they should take a look into that. But we have like soil bins, our little 6-pack seed transfer containers. We'll be filling these with water and such like that. All right. Before we hit the outside, here's our main tomatoes. Hold on, I'm not getting very good. There we go. That is our main tomatoes. In here is 3 6-packs with, what would that be, 12, 18 cups, and 2 of 9 different varieties. So 2 of other ones, notable ones that are making it in there are the accordion orange, the black cherry, the black trifle, the black prince, the Berkeley tie-dye's in there, the Sartre Relois, white wonder, Hawaiian pineapple. So when we get those planted out in the yard, I'll make sure that I do a video and explain all the different varieties that made it into the yard. And it's more of like a strength of virtue sort of situation. We just plant as many unique varieties that we're excited about, and we're always interested to see what makes it into the yard as well. So I don't know what these kind of varieties are. We've been dealing with this. I have to trim it some more. It's looking a little bit haggard now because it's spent the past 2 days indoors. This is the kind of light that I have for it. It's too big to hit into the shelves. Sometimes we drag it into the kitchen and turn a bunch of lights on it too to try to keep it going. Starting tomorrow, midday, I probably can get the plants out for a couple hours, and it'll just love to be able to be outside again because it spent 3 good days outside. Actually was able to stay overnight outside, and then all of a sudden we dropped so bad we're back in the freezing, and we have this like really cold rain. So they can't survive outside, but they are struggling a little bit inside. But it's working out. So some extra sprouts. These ones ain't necessarily behind. These ones can be planted and probably will be planted in family members' yards or potted up. For anybody who wants to take them off our hands, we have friends and family that might take them. Sometimes we take them to the farm market and stuff, and a couple of these might make it into our yard if something goes wrong. We never know what's going to happen. So this is our main peppers, the tail end of the 3 half pots or half trays we did. I like both of these trays. This one seems to have a little tiny bit of a gap between the rubber stopper and the bottom part. This one here, it's more of a, it's just flush across the bottom of it. I feel like this one had a struggle when we had it on a heat mat. Like it almost like created a little warping or something. And then also the incision parts that are on the inside of there. You can kind of see light coming through that one right there. These are a little bit big. So when it sets flush against the bottom like that, and these being a little bit big, moving it around caused a lot of soil displacement. So I think we bought this one last year for $9. And this year we had got this one and they were up in price to $11. I wouldn't suggest anybody spend any money on gardening if you have any opportunity not to. These are a couple just like niche impulse buys that we kind of got. But I like this one a lot. Single seating them each in there. It does take 2 people because once you lift this thing out, if you want to put your hand and push something out, how do you get a hold of the sprout after that? So it kind of takes 2 people because you can't really set it down. I did make a mistake once on this one of having it out and setting it on something else. And because everything's soft underneath, it lifted the soil pockets up. So it kind of takes 2 people to get them out, or a little ingenuity to kind of get those out by yourself. And that actually has a leak in it. So this is just a regular, typical half tray. All right, so I'll start right here. This is our dwarf tomatoes that are inside of here. This is our shelf system. We have 6 varieties in this 6-pack right here. of the main front runners to go out into our yard this year. And then our 7th variety is actually going to be the Mocha's Cherry. We wanted to make sure the Mocha's Cherry made it in our yard. We didn't want to think that the Mocha's Cherry wasn't doing as good because it wasn't as big as these other varieties that got selected. The Mocha's Cherry is actually a small plant even for a dwarf variety tomato. So being that it was smaller, we knew that the plant would look smaller and not be one of the other ones that wasn't doing quite as well as our main 6. So we have 7 varieties of dwarf. All right, and when it comes to our peppers, I am not even quite sure what is going on. This is the trench. This is everything waiting outside the back door. But I don't know what varieties are in here. I know that we have the Chinese 5 color. I mean, there's one Ahi Fantasy. Only one sprout of that's in here somewhere. And lemon spice jalapeno. I know there's at least 1 or 2 in there. There's a couple of the Ubatuba. Like I was saying, there's a couple of 5 color, the pumpkin spice jalapenos in there. I know there's 1 or 2 lipstick, 1 or 2 Courbaki, a carrot cross, an odious blue cross. But like when it comes to the tomatoes, I know what 9 varieties are going to be there. When it comes to the dwarfs, I can kind of look in there real quick and see what kind of dwarfs. When it comes to these overgrowing, it becomes a real hassle to kind of like try to figure out which ones are there or get in there and look at each one. So you guys will be just as surprised as we are for what makes the yard. We're going to get at least, I'd say there's at least 20 varieties of pepper here. These are our original ones. Our first bin that we did was, I believe, this bin right here. And it was just strength of virtue, like I was saying. The best 6 sprouts went into cups and got labeled and are in here somewhere. And then we've given a couple plants away that we knew were doubles. That's how come I know some of what's in here. But other than that, I have no idea. I know that we planted about 35 varieties total of pepper this year. And there's about 20 varieties that are still making it into the mix so far in this bin. And then this was our second bin, another 18 peppers, 18 cups with random peppers varieties in it. And then here is another 6. Here's another 6. They're sitting in here with our dwarfs. It kind of helps in the sunspots to block that light out. And then these are our middle ground peppers. These ones are too far ahead. The sprouts in the greenhouse are too far behind. And these ones are about just right. And when we started needing to free up some of the space because it was growing too high for our greenhouse lights, we had decided we were going to just take one of these older trays that we had that was still good and use these dollar store pots and start potting the next ones that were up for someplace to go. And here they are sitting in the shelves. They spend a lot of time in the shelves. These ones are the next to go out. The first thing to go out when the weather's good is the 4 bins. And then the next things to go out are these 2, and then the things that were upstairs in the upstairs bathroom will either land on these shelves for a minute or they'll go outside too. So I'll have to show you guys if I get a chance. It's really hard to make videos. I'll show you guys the yard next video. But it really gets kind of tough to make videos. We are so overwhelmed with work. April attrition means we are constantly trimming, constantly watering. Will you hand me the water thing? Yeah. You're gonna hold the camera? So we like to bottom water, but when everything gets so big, we can't really bottom water like that, pulling everything out. And when trimming gets out of line and stuff, what I use is this water toy here. And it came from the dollar store, and I say the dollar store because we've had it for a couple years before it was the $1.25 store. But I'll just take like an old coffee container or a jug or something, put some water in there, and I'll pull it out, and then I'll check in here when it's good light to see which ones are dry and not dry. And then I'll get in there really, really easy, and then I'll just slowly make sure that I get enough water in there. And I've kind of been able to determine whether everything is watered pretty well based on the weight. I can kind of tell what the weight is with lots of water and not water. And then I can also kind of determine like how much, if it's completely dry, I'll hit it with about this much right here of water, and know that that's a much to fill a cup. But a lot of these processes, they mostly come from just trial and error. This system, maybe some of the stuff that we're doing can help somebody else out. And if anybody's got any questions, we're not here to tutor anybody. This is just what we're doing and what works for us right now. There's a lot of corners that we've been cutting, so I know that you can probably look at about 15 things that is going on in our house and our garden right now, and say that we could do it better, and we definitely could. But we just we love to grow things. Me and Angel, we're super excited to see something unique grow out there this year. Tons of peppers ready to go, tons of tomatoes. April 27th of 2024, UT Angel and Kiddo. Love you guys. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.